County 911, the case of the emergency.
My father has come up missing. We just searched the property. It's a small farm, and I just found something near the fire that doesn't. I was deployed to Iraq. I've seen what burned up bodies look like, and this looks like a body.
When the patriarch of the Farris family goes missing, his kids go looking for answers. But what they find is unthinkable. Their father's body on the property's burn pile.
On a 10-acre horse farm outside Alpharetta, Georgia, in the kind of quiet, affluent pocket of the South where neighbors wave from long driveways and nobody bothers locking their doors, a family spent the 4th of July weekend of 2018 searching for the man they called Big Daddy and what his own children found smoldering in a burn pile 100 yards from the back porch would unravel into one of the most disturbing murder cases Georgia had seen in years. Gary Wayne Farris was 58 years old, a commercial real estate attorney and partner at the respected firm Burr & Foreman, the kind of steady, hardworking father who taught his 4 children, Chris, Scott, Emily, and Amanda, that education and integrity mattered more than money, even though money was never really the problem. He and his wife, Melody, had been high school sweethearts, married for 38 years. And when the kids grew up and moved out, the couple bought this sprawling farm as their reward, a place for goats and horses and grandchildren, a place that looked from the outside like something out of a magazine. Their son, Scott, a veteran who had served in Iraq, lived in an apartment above the barn and helped work the land. It should have been the Farris family's happy ending. Instead, it became a crime scene. Gary was last seen alive on the evening of July 3rd when his son Chris dropped off his granddaughter Addison for a quick visit. That same night, Melody turned the little girl away when she asked to sleep over, telling her not tonight. By the next morning, Gary was gone. His car sat untouched in the driveway. His keys sat untouched on the counter. He never went anywhere without either one. His children began combing every inch of the property, terrified he'd collapse somewhere. Gary had suffered strange medical spells before, moments that left him stumbling and slurring his words. And then Scott remembered something his father had mentioned days earlier. He'd been planning to burn the debris pile, that mound of old fencing and yard waste every rural property collects before it gets set alight and left to smolder for days. When Scott walked down to that pile, he noticed something that didn't belong in a fire meant for brush and scrap wood. He'd spent time in a war zone. He knew exactly what a burned body looked like, and this was one. The 911 call went out immediately, and investigators arrived expecting, at first, that Gary might have suffered one of his medical episodes and stumbled into the flames by accident. That theory collapsed within hours. Buried in the ash, forensic anthropologists recovered a set of ribs, and lodged between two of them was
probably less than 50 pounds that was recovered or something like that, but there was mainly some skeletal bones remains. An anthropologist comes out and she starts helping process the scene.
There was a set of ribs, about 2 or 3 ribs pulled out of the fire, and there ended up being a full bullet, not even a fragment, a full bullet lodged between 2 ribs into the tissue.
They were able to determine that the death was caused by a gunshot wound to the thoracic, the chest region, with the bullet being lodged.
A fully intact bullet. Gary Farris hadn't died in an accident. He'd been shot and someone had tried to burn away the proof. Once homicide investigators understood that, they stopped treating the burn pile as the only crime scene and started treating the entire 10-acre property that way, which meant walking straight into the 2-story home Gary and Melody shared. What they found inside told its own story, a trail of blood running from the kitchen down a staircase into the basement, and on that basement floor, a second bullet, this one confirmed through.
They knew that there was a house nearby. They decided to expand that search. They go to the home, and what they found in that home was very telling.
Inside the house, they find a blood trail from the kitchen area that goes down the steps into the basement area, and they find not only a blood trail, they also find an actual bullet projectile on the floor by the ottoman.
Testing later revealed that the blood, the DNA on this projectile, was the DNA of Gary Farris.
We know that there was one bullet in his body, and then we know that there was one through and through with his DNA on it.
DNA testing to be Gary's. Investigators later found reddish stains on the hydraulic pump and controls of the family's Kubota tractor. The same tractor that normally sat parked inside a shed, but which had turned up sitting outside, out of place in the days after Gary vanished. Someone had shot Gary Farris inside his own home and moved him outside to burn. The deeper investigators dug into the Farris marriage, though, the more they realized the picture of a happy retirement had mostly been for show. Gary controlled the finances tightly and had refused to put Melody's name on the accounts. Frustrated by what he considered her extravagant spending, back in 2010, he discovered she'd secretly taken out a home equity loan against the farm without telling him, and he'd actually filed for divorce before the two of them quietly reconciled and simply kept living together. Increasingly like strangers under one roof, Melody on the main floor, Gary essentially exiled to the basement.
My mom decided to step out of the marriage and had an affair with a gentleman named Ted Wiley. That caused a lot of friction in the family, not just between my parents, but between us and my mother. She came back to my dad after he had filed for divorce.
Ultimately, it was a relationship of acceptance that they were going to live two separate lives. They were almost like two ships passing in the night.
She lived on the first floor where the main kitchen was. The second floor was kind of guest bedrooms where the grandchildren would stay and family would stay. And then the bottom floor, which...
With his CPAP machine, just months before his death in April of 2018, Gary told at least two of his own children that he believed Melody was trying to poison him. After he landed in the hospital following an argument and a plate of...
that his mom got so angry at Gary very recently before the murder that they were outside and she brought out a plate that Gary had forgot to bring to the kitchen and slammed that plate down and screamed something to the effect of, "I can't wait till he's gone, I can't wait till he's dead." We found a video from July 2nd, which was the day before the murder, where he filmed the remnants of that broken plate.
This is what happens when you leave a plate, forget to take it upstairs, a minor temper tantrum. Of course, I had supper tonight and it was fixed for me, so I'm sure I'll be feeling poorly here within minutes.
It's been
but we'll see.
There is evidence we have found in the house that indicates that you would have heard something. There is almost no way in the world that you wouldn't have.
I would never hurt Gary.
I didn't ask that. We found blood. Do you know anything about the blood?
No, I did not know anything about the blood. Nothing.
Something happened to him. How did he die? You were told how he died, weren't you?
Well, we just assumed when Scott said, "This is human remains on this fire."
Have you been told how he died, what we found?
He told me that there was a shot or a slug in the rib.
So what does that indicate to you?
A gunshot wound.
But the problem is there's almost no way in this world that you didn't see something, hear something, or know something, and someone is shot, moved, and burned 30 feet from your bedroom window.
I know nothing.
Through the entire house, cell tower and GPS data dealt her story an even harder blow in the early morning hours of July 4th, while records placed Scott miles away with friends. Gary's own cell phone physically traveled from inside the house out to the burn pile and then back again at a time when Melody was the only living person.
He was murdered the night of the 3rd. The GPS location of Gary's phone was significant because the morning of the 4th, around 6:15, 6:17, Gary's phone moves from the house out to the burn pile. We know Melody's the only one home, and so Melody must have Gary's phone. That was a significant piece of evidence that proved when she was by herself, she must have had Gary's phone because we know Gary was dead.
What's relevant about that is data also showed Scott Farris's phone was away. Scott Farris said he was with friends somewhere else. The data supported that.
But then Scott mentioned something. A gun missing from the home. And not just any gun, by the way. A gun that matches the ballistic evidence from the crime scene.
He tells law enforcement that a few weeks prior, the cable provider had come out there and they needed to install, change something out. And that he was looking for the remote, opened a drawer, and saw essentially a nickel-plated or silver revolver in a black holster.
Can you describe that gun for us again, as best you can remember?
Oh man, it's not as soon as I opened the drawer, any guy who knows guns, it was a 38 snub nose. It was, a smaller revolver gun.
Move up to July the 5th, he goes and checks where he says that gun was at, and the gun is mysteriously gone.
Vanished without a trace. Devers searched the property's pond. Pawn shops across the county were checked. Metal detectors combed the fields. The gun never surfaced, and Scott, a trained shooter who bristled at being questioned about his finances and his dependence on his father, agreed to sit for a polygraph and passed it cleanly, telling investigators under oath that he had nothing to do.
There's no way she could have made it because I was not there. I was not involved with it. So, no, there's nothing. And if I need to do, I'll do whatever it means. If I need to do polygraph tests or anything like that, I'm more than happy to do it.
Sure enough, Scott Farris is brought in for a polygraph, and investigators are about to find out how much exactly he knows about what happened to his father.
I'm going to be doing your polygraph exam today. You ever taken a polygraph test before?
No, ma'am.
This test is about to begin. Please remain still. Regarding Gary's death, do you intend to answer each question truthfully?
Yes.
Did you participate in any way in causing Gary's death?
No.
Did you shoot Gary?
No.
The
I think there was only one conversation that is what you're looking for. Probably the last minute of the last conversation, she said, Gary is in the burn pile. No, she said, he is in the burn pile. And I said, what? And she said, he's in the burn pile. And I said, do not say another word and do not tell me anything. I do not need to know. And that is everything.
When she said he is in the burn pile, what was your assumption?
That she had something to do with him.
Yeah.
That he was dead and burning
Because I don't, that he was dead and burning up.
That statement was made around the time his remains were found. So obviously, if it was made the night of the 3rd going into the 4th, that is extremely incriminating considering his remains had not been found until July 5th. It shows her knowledge that he was actually